The next iteration of Splendor has arrived. Splendor Kids, it's time to get the family involved. Let's check out how this compares to original Splendor, Splendor Duel, and see what kind of game this is on Legendary Tactics.
Splendor Kids.
Splendor Kids from Asmodee Games.
I had no idea. Was this a review copy?
This is a review copy indeed, so thank you to them for sending that. So Splendor Kids is an inherently different game, I would argue, than Splendor. Thematically, I think it works just the same, but for kids, they wanted, I think, to have a visual pathway to victory, whereas it's more abstract in Splendor, that you're gathering your resources, you're building up your sets, which allow you to buy things cheaper, you're developing your economy. They wanted it a little more tangible for kids, so it does feel like a different game to me. But for people who appreciate Splendor Duel or Splendor Original, you'll see the connectedness of this game. So pretty straightforward. For kids, what you tell them is that the goal is to get their character meeple from here up to the castle, and everyone who makes it here before the door closes, so the door closes like that, and it triggers when the first player arrives. So when the door closes, then players after that won't successfully win the kingdom. So it is fairly child-friendly in that multiple people can win at the same time, and you don't have to pick an ultimate victor, and then you can collect your badge that you've won. So to progress along the path, those of you who play Splendor will recognize the resources. This is a nice little organizational tray. And
but they're not jewels, they're mushrooms, apples, lettuce, acorns, and water, and whatever those are.
And so this is your wild card. And so it is the same mechanism as Splendor. On your turn, you can take 3 different resources, 1, 2, 3, as long as they're different colors. Or you can take 2 of the same color. So we'll say we can take 2 browns. Or you can take 1 of the wilds. So that's fairly similar. And your goal is to basically pay the cost of each place on the map. So if this is my fella here, and I decide I want to go this way, I need 2 waters, a mushroom, and an acorn. And
so that's expensive to move around.
It is, but you have to feed the people of your nation.
Fair enough.
So you collect your resources on your turn, and then when you have enough, you, instead of collecting, you take your turn, you move. If you land on a circular square, you get to go again. So that's nice. So the question is, why would you not want to go on a circular square? Why would you go, say, this pathway to the square? And the answer is that that's where you gain permanent resources. So on your player board, get these guys out. You get to add a permanent water.
Nice.
So now that counts against your cost. So down here, it does seem expensive because the beginning of Splendor is slow in that you're trying to build those resources. But by the end of the game, you can just be like, click, 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 here we go, I'm there, you know? So it doesn't take very long. It is handy on your player board here to remind you, you can take 3 different ones, 2 of the same, or 1 of those wild, or you can move your character. So for kids, there's that very easy reference chart there. Now, so you have the choice. The strategy is, do you try to go to the circles and move more quickly, or do you try to build up the resources so that you can take less turns choosing resources? Now, just to make the game step up to the next level, I don't know if it's a huge step, but these circular ones go here. And they're essentially little treasures. They only go in this middle section of the board. So, and then there's some leftovers, so you get some variety from game to game. So a player who triggers one of those just looks at it, and then you go to your rule book, and it tells you what happens. So a drought.
A drought. All travelers with more than 5 resource tokens must immediately discard down to 5.
That's right. So
interesting.
And like normal Splendor, you can only have a limited number of resources or jewels or gems or apples or whatnot in hand. So it's 8 in this case. So and so this is a nice visual representation because the kids know when these spots are full, that's all you can hold. Whereas in Splendor adult version, you need to remember those things and be sort of tracking each other. So fairly straightforward game. I have played this with my nephew,
Yeah.
and I found that as the game progressed, he made it through to about here and started to get a little disinterested because my sons, who are a little bit older, myself, we were all starting to pull ahead with our strategies. And when you start to fall behind, it feels like you're really far back in the game.
Yeah.
So there is that sense of if you play with adults who strategize quite a bit, then it may be hard. It's probably better to have a group of kids play with a group of kids and have adults play with adults. Or I'm not really sure this is entirely an adult game, but maybe Cax and I'll fire it up and give that assessment.
Why not? Why not?
So are there any questions that you've got about the game?
Yeah, it seems pretty straightforward. I guess, how long does it take?
We were probably half an hour or so.
Okay.
I would say.
Yeah, it said 25 minutes on the box, but I've learned not to trust those because it depends on
2 to 4 players. We were learning the game as we went. So, pretty compact, quick to teach, and thematically, I like the idea of you needing to feed the people in your kingdom.
Yeah.
So.
What do you like best about this?
For me, I like that it's a spiritual cousin to the original Splendor, so that if you want to graduate your kids from this up into actual Splendor, like my kids love Splendor.
Yeah.
It's so much fun and hits the table a lot in our family. But this came out too late for them to experience as kids.
Yeah.
But to play this, I think, and then go to Splendor, then you could teach the resources in a little more abstract way. I think it would land well.
And is there anything that you'd like to improve about the game? Do you feel it's too long?
I think it's fairly compact. No, I think it's the right length because it accelerates as you go. Overall, I would say I'm not usually a fan of everybody wins games, but this game probably does set up that multiple people are likely going to win if everybody plays optimally.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
For adults, it is very clear to see where the optimal path is.
Yeah.
You get the resources you choose, so all of your luck is your own. The only randomness would come with these. Some of them are bad. And some are actually good. So that will add just a little bit of variability.
Yeah. And what about replayability?
That, I think, once you find the optimal path, I think you could just be like, this is where I need to go. This is the cheapest route.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've balanced it out.
Yeah.
But
they probably have. Yeah. I mean, this looks like a board that could be balanced out with an algorithm or some sort of computer program where you could crunch the numbers and find kind of the best way to kind of make it essentially the same.
Well, and
the
other issue is you also have to play the players at the table. So if I see that you need an apple to get through here, then I take the apple so that you can't play it. So there is some higher level strategy. Kids aren't going to see that or be competing so much with the other players. They're just going to be playing their own pathway, I would say. But so that's Splendor Kids.
Yeah.
It's different enough from original Splendor that it feels like you've got a different game here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's awesome.
That's great. Well, thanks for joining us on Legendary Tactics. Now get out there,
get gaming, and be legendary.